Hey y'all, so I'm about to give y'all my thoughts on Rock the Boat, that Tubi movie. It's going to be spoilers, but I am only going to focus on more so the ending in this video, and this is why it's going to get the rating that I'm going to give it. I am going to rank it 1 through 10 at the end of the movie. And yeah, spoiler alert again. So if you haven't seen it, make sure you go watch it first if you don't want to get the spoilers before you watch it. But before I get into that, I'm just going to tell y'all right now that I feel like it is a good movie. However, it's not a good movie. Y'all know those movies that you don't care. You be like, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care how many times I watched it. I am going to watch that thing again. It ain't that type of movie. It's not, okay? So I feel like it's going to be a part 2 just because it's Marcus Houston and Chris Stokes, because they love doing part 2 and part 3s when they need to just leave it alone. Like, the movies be good. You know, I'm not gonna even hold them on that, but some movies don't need a part 2 and a part 3. This one, I feel like it doesn't need a part 2, but I feel like it's going to get a part 2. And I'm gonna tell you, you'll see when I get into it. Now, I watch a lot of movies like this, and when they get to the explanation part at the end, they really do a good job at explaining what happened to where you don't have any questions. But in this one, I got questions. At the end, when the killer pops up and do all the explanations, he began to explain how everything is connected. Now, mind you, I counted about 10 people outside of Millie. Out of the 10 people, at least 10 people, one of them ends up being Millie's boyfriend. The other 9 people, between the two, Millie and her boyfriend, they all happen to be their friends. I went back to watch it. I watched it twice, and I still don't know what Sophia has to do with anything. At the end, the killer begins to explain how all of them got there. Now, some of them, the killer did not mention that he tampered with their application to get them there, but 2 of them, he did. At least 2. I think it was only 2, though. He did. I don't understand, and the question that I have is, how did they all miraculously end up at the same college and happen to be Millie and her boyfriend's friends? Now, Millie's parents passed away in a car accident early in the movie. The person who is the killer is connected to the parents, and the children of the people who had something to do with the case and the dealings, the aftermath of the parents passing, Millie's parents passing, ended up being the friends of Millie and her boyfriends at the college. So one of my questions was, how did this killer know to get all of those people there? Like, who they were. What happened was, Millie wanted to kill a whole bunch of people. The people she wanted to kill was the children of the people who had something to do in the case in the aftermath of her parents passing. My other question was, how did she know about who was involved? Because it was a little bit too detailed for a kid in elementary. It seemed like she was in elementary to know all of this information. Now, the people that adopted Millie, they could have had her in grown folks conversations, and that's how she got all the information about who was involved. And also, she could have went to some of the court case. However, all of those people would not have been mentioned in the court case. Another thing is, from the sound of it, all of the trials that was loading was thrown out. So she wouldn't have actually made it to court. So I'm thinking, okay, the people that adopted Millie, they was just talking in front of her and had some information and was finding things out. Still don't know how they would know all of the interconnections of what was going on, but we're just gonna land that there. So now the question is, how did she know about these people's children? Because she is writing in her journal, and she's upset about her parents passing. And at this point, she knows that they had something to do with everything falling through and things being weird concerning her parents' death. So she's writing in her journal, and now she's ready to off people. She's naming the children, I guess, because it's possibly in her head easier to get to the children. She knows all of these people's children, which would be unlikely. Because even if the adoptive parents was talking about everybody who was involved with the parents' death, and you know what unfolded after that, they wouldn't have needed to mention the children. So how did she know who the children was? How did she find that out? And I know everybody don't need that information, but I need that information. I'm used to that level of information. So for me, that was a doozy because it wasn't explained how she knew about these kids. Because logically, from what we've gathered, nothing makes sense, you know, from what was given. So now you would think that Millie know who the kids are, and Millie is now at school with these kids, their friends, and her boyfriend, and also her boyfriend's friends. You would think that maybe they grew up together, but that's not the case. I had that question, and when one of the girls was in the interrogation, one of the girls was like, she wasn't from the city that Millie was from, so she couldn't have grew up with her. Well, how did she know? And how all just miraculously end up at the college? Because again, from my recollection, it was only two that was actually explained as far as how the killer orchestrated them all being at the school. And that was his intention, to get them all at the school. But only two were explained. How did the killer know about these people? Well, he went to go see Millie, and he found her journal. He read through the journal. So this is how we found out that it was in her journal, because he was explaining that he got the journal and he was reading it and got the information, and it flashed to her writing in it and, you know, speaking out her thoughts when she was writing in it. I'm not gonna lie, at first I thought Millie was going crazy and was killing all these people. She even saw her younger self, which was actually a dream. I thought it was some type of psycho thriller or whatever have you, and it was just a dream that basically led her to her journal, because she ended up finding it. And when she found it, she's like dumbfounded about what's inside, and she don't understand why she doesn't remember it. The reason she don't remember anything is because after her parents died, of course she went crazy because she was writing about often all the kids. Her adoptive parents sent her over to a witch, and the witch wiped her memory. Now keep this in mind, because this is going to be important for why I think it's a part 2. Now, remember, the kids that's in her journal that she know is the kids of the people who had something to do with her parents dying. They are all her friends now. But she didn't attack them. She's not the killer. I also thought that 2 other people were the killer. So I'm not going to spoil who the killer is. But it was 3 other people outside of Millie who I thought was the killer. And maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But they do know Millie. She wasn't a killer. They're all her friends now, but she doesn't remember that they are the kids that she wrote down in her journal, because, again, the witch took away her memory. Now, they're on the boat. The killer is explaining everything. I still don't know what Sophia got to do with anything. I don't know who her parents are or nothing. If y'all know, put it in the comments, honey, because I could have just missed it. It could have been just an oversight. I don't know what's going on. So if it's in there, y'all let me know. But I didn't hear it. But clearly, the killer orchestrated for her to be there too. What made my booty itch is when they got the bomb off of Millie on the boat. They set the bomb on the boat instead of throwing it overboard. It's just the stupidity of it all. Anyway, they kept the bomb on the boat. Just set it down like it's a piece of pie, child. Just set it down like it's a piece of pie. And then they basically, some kind of way, Millie got knocked out. I don't even know how the girl got knocked out, child. The friends disappeared. Two of the friends disappeared. I don't know. They ended up going after they took the bomb off and sat it down. They just, I could have missed that too, but they definitely disappeared. I don't know where the heck they went. The next thing I knew, the boyfriend was picking up Millie and jumping aboard. And that was it. Now, fast forward to the hospital. And this is why I think it's going to be a number 2. Millie ends up in the hospital. She has like some type of cut on her head. We still don't know. Well, I still don't know how she got knocked out or whatever. But she got knocked out. her friends, her surviving friends, and her boyfriend is around the bed, and they're talking about how she lost her memory again. So first the memory was taken from her. The second time, from that time the memory was taken up into when she like knocked herself on the head or whatever. All that memory wiped from being hit. Okay, well, from hitting her head. The boyfriend and the friends walk out. She wakes up, but the boyfriend and the friends are outside, and he's talking about this can hurt me and whoop whoop whoop, basically thinking about himself. And he's like, we're gonna take this to the grave, and they are all on board. And I'm like, did y'all not hear did y'all not hear what the killer just said? And y'all are kind of like going back into covering it up, because he was talking about the situation with Millie. He was wondering, he had asked, do he think that she's going to remember? He had asked before he said that, do they think she is going to wake up and remember what just happened? Because remember, she wrote in her diary or journal, whatever, who the kids were, and the killer informed her that they were standing in front of her, although she was like, oh my goodness, like, oh my gosh, these are my friends, don't harm them, it doesn't have to be this way. If she wakes up and begin to remember, she could go back to remembering like the first thing that she remembered. And both of them, she could possibly remember when she was a kid before her memory was wiped, and all that stuff that happened recently, and ended up becoming the killer of those people. First of all, I wouldn't even want to be her friend after the killer revealed everything. Because first of all, whether you remember or not, honey, you wanted to kill us when you were just a kid. And you can get angry all over again. She knows that she was adopted. She knows her parents passed away. So she knows that. She can have all of that built up anger and realizing that these are the kids of the people who had something to do with their death, and also with the things that transpired after that was just jacked up. That's what my mind would be like, girl, I'm not finna be your friend no more. I'm about to go mind my business and stay away from you, because I don't know how things are going to go. Even though she didn't remember, you know, it from the her childhood, she can still like end up, like after everything and all the excitement of that night, she can still be like, okay, like now I know the truth. Now let me finish what I started. The witch came in, and when the witch came in, they out there in the lobby, and the witch came in. She woke up, and she was like, I don't remember you. And then the witch was like, that's why I'm here. So I'm thinking that she is about to give her memory back from when she was a child. Now, she get that memory back from when she was a child. That anger, I feel like it's going to be there. So this is why I think it's going to be a part 2. Because if she get her memory back, I feel like she's going to end up being the killer in part 2 to finish the job. That's my thoughts. If you saw it, let me know what you think in the comments about the movie. Let me know if you think that there is going to be a part 2. And let me know what you think is going to happen in part 2. Do you think that Millie would be the killer and she's getting her memory back or whatever have you? And then especially if she find out that they were in the lobby, like keep it a secret, when that's basically how they end up getting into this whole situation anyway, even though only one of them literally had something to do with the death of the parents, and the rest of them really didn't have anything to do with it, just their parents. I'm going to give it a 7.7. That's my rating. Let me know in the comments what you rate it as well, if you already saw it, or once you see it, come back and let me know what you're going to rate it. But let me know what you think. Make sure you subscribe, comment, like, and all that good stuff.